Good morning, students. So today we are going to discuss about the naming, how we can name the complexes. Okay, what are the different rules which are followed for IUPAC naming of complexes? And after that, we are going to discuss what is isomerism, and we will be discussing in detail about stereoisomerism. Okay, now first of all, how the different rules are there for naming of coordination compounds. Okay, so let us start. The very first rule is, whenever a coordination compound is given to us, we will find out first of all which part is cation and which part is anion. Okay, just like if I write like this: CONH3 6 Cl3. Okay, this is in the bracket, Cl3 is outside the bracket. Now first of all I have to decide whether this portion is cation or this portion is cation. Okay, so once we decide which is cation, which is anion, then the rule is cation is named first and then anion will be named. Okay, so in this case, this complex, this particular coordination sphere is cation, so this will be named first and then Cl3 will be named. Okay, now second rule is the ligands are named in an alphabetical order. Okay, now see, when we are going to name a coordination sphere, then there may be presence of more than one ligands. So very first rule is ligands are named first and then central atom is named. So if more than one type of ligands are there, then they are named as alphabetically. Okay, once we name them, then we have to name the central atom. Okay, now if our ligand is negatively charged, just like Cl is negatively charged, so while naming it, we will not write chloride. What we will write? We will write chloro. So what is the rule? Negative ligands end as O. Okay, negative ligands end as O. And in case of neutral ligands or cationic ligands, their name will be same, except a few exceptions are there. Just like if water is there, then we will not write water. What we will write? We will write aqua. And if ammonia is there, then we will write amine. If carbonyl group is present, means carbon monoxide is present, then we will say carbonyl. If nitric oxide NO is present, then we will say nitrosyl. So there are few exceptions. Otherwise, for cationic ligands and neutral ligands, we will be naming as such. Okay, now for cationic ligands we name as EM. There is EM, ending is as EM. Okay, now we will be taking some examples ahead, so there you can understand better. Now when we write the formula of coordination entity, then it is enclosed in brackets. Okay, so coordination entity name is enclosed in brackets. Now see, if there are more than one ligand, then we will be using the prefixes as di, tri, tetra, just like we use in normal IUPAC naming. Okay, now there are some ligands, in their name itself there is bi, tri, di. These words are already there. Just like if we talk about En, then in its name we have to write ethane 1,2 dash diamine. Okay, its name is ethane 1,2 dash diamine. Now if we see, in its name itself there is di word. So if in a particular molecule there is presence of En2, okay, somewhere it is written En2, then it means there are two En groups. So I will not write di and then I will write this. No, that is not done. What I will do, for such cases we have to use the prefixes as bis for 2, tris for 3, tetrakis for 4. Okay, so what I am going to use, if in case of En2, I will write like this, bis, and then the name will be written in bracket. So bis I will write outside, and inside I will write ethane dash 1,2 dash diamine. Okay, this way I will write, then I will close bracket. So bis within bracket ethane dash 1,2 dash diamine. This way I will write. Similarly, here one example is given: PPH3. PPH3 means triphenyl phosphine. See, this is phosphine, PH3 is phosphine. So when we replace H by phenyl group, then it comes out to be PPH3. This is phenyl group. So what we will say, it is triphenyl phosphine. Okay. So now see, there is tri word already used. So if it is present more than once, then I will be using bis, tris or tetrabis. Now here in this case it is present 2 times. So I will write bis before its name, and this will be written, its name will be written within bracket. Okay. So within bracket what we write, if there is certain complex ligand. Complex ligand, we mean that in the name itself there is presence of di, tri or tetra words. Okay. Now in all the coordination compounds we have to calculate the oxidation state of central metal also. Okay. Now once we calculate the oxidation state, calculation of oxidation state is done in the same way we calculate the oxidation state in molecules, in normal molecules. So whatever is the value of oxidation state, that value is written after writing the name of metal within bracket in Romans. Suppose there is copper and its oxidation state has come out to be 1, then how I will write? Copper I will write, and then within bracket I will write 1 in Roman letters. Okay. So this way it is done for oxidation state. Now if the complex ion is cation, okay, now see, there are 3 types of complexes. It may be cation, it may be anion, or it may be neutral. So in case it is a cation, then the name of metal will be named as it is. Suppose cobalt is there in the complex and the complex is positively charged, or it is neutral. In both the cases, if it is neutral or if it is positively charged, in both the cases it will be named as such. So what I will do, I will write it as cobalt. Okay. But in case it was present in anion, if the coordination compound coordination complex is anion, okay, then it will be written as cobaltate. Then it will be written as cobaltate. Okay. Similarly, if platinum is there as central atom and it is present in cation or neutral coordination compound or coordination complex, then it will be written as such, as platinum. And if it is anion, then it will be written as platinate. So the ending of central metal atom is as 8 if it is present in negatively charged complex. Okay. Similarly for iron, if we have to write in negatively charged ion, then we will write it as ferrate. Okay. And if it is neutral complex, then in the same way we have to write just like for cationic complex. Okay. Now let us understand this. As we said that if a ligand is negatively charged, then it will end as O. So carbonate is a ligand. If it is present, then we will write it as carbonato. Oxalate, oxalato. Sulfate, sulfato. Thiocyanate, thiocyaneto. Thiosulfate, thiosulfato. Sulfite, sulfito. Okay, so these all negative ligands are ending as O. Okay. Similarly, if a particular metal atom is present in cationic complex or in anionic complex or in neutral complex, then for cationic and neutral they will be named as such. But if they are present in anionic complex, then their ending will be as 8. Okay. So if scandium is present, then it will be written just like scandium if it is in positively charged or in neutral complex, and it will become scandate. Titanium will become titanate. Vanadium will become vanadate. Chromium will become chromate. Manganese will become manganate. Iron will become ferrate. Cobalt will become cobaltate. Nickel will become nickelate. Copper will become cuprate, and zinc will become zincate. So there are these which are to be remembered properly. Okay. Now let us discuss few examples of IUPAC naming. Now we have taken one example over here, CrNH3 whole thrice H2O whole thrice Cl3. So how we are going to name it? Very first thing, First of all, we have to check which is cation, which is anion. So now see, whatever is within the bracket and whatever is outside, on the basis of their oxidation numbers, we will check whether it is cation or anion. Now see, Cl, it carries charge -1. So it means 3 Cl groups are attached outside, so they are carrying a negative charge. So this part is negatively charged, and this part is positively charged. So it means this is cation, and cation will be named first, and this will be named afterwards. Okay. Now comes when we are going to name this complex ion, then ligands are named first. Okay. Now while naming the ligands, this is named as amine and this is named as aqua. So which comes first alphabetically? Amine comes first alphabetically and then comes aqua. So we will be naming amine first and then we will be naming aqua. Now amine is present 3 times, so we will say triamine. We will say triamine. Then we will say triaqua. Okay. Now we need to know the oxidation state of chromium. So oxidation state of chromium is to be calculated. Let us take it as X. This is 0, this is 0 and this is -1. So what is the total? X plus 0 plus 0 minus 3 is equal to 0. So what is the value of X? X value is equal to 3. It means the oxidation state of chromium is 3. Okay. Now next thing, chromium is present in a complex which is positively charged, so its name will be written as such. Okay. Now let us start. First of all, triamine, triaqua, then chromium. It will be written as such because it is present in positively charged ion and its oxidation state 3. Now one more thing which is to be learnt is that these ions will be named only once. Which ions? Counter ions and complex ion. Okay, they will be named only once. There may be the case that this whole square bracket term comes twice or thrice, or whatever is the counter ions, they may be more than once. But what we have to do, we have to name complex also once and the counter ions also once. So outside there are 3 chlorine atoms. So what we are going to say, they are going to be named as ion only. They will not be named as ligand, because ligand is that species which is inside the square bracket. Cl3 is outside the square bracket, so it will be named as normal ion. So it is chloride ion. Now it will be named only once. This is the rule. So what will be the name? Chloride. So its name will be triamine triaqua chromium 3 chloride. Okay. Similarly, let us talk about second example. Okay, now see here what we have taken. We have taken ethane dash 1,2 dash diamine. This group is also written like this, En. This is one of the form, En whole thrice. Okay. Now see, if you see this molecule here, the term within square bracket comes twice and term outside the bracket is thrice. So what is to be done? Only for calculating the oxidation number, we will be using all the exact numbers of all atoms, but for writing the IUPAC name, we will be writing the name of this square bracket only once and outside the bracket only once. Okay. Now let us first of all calculate the oxidation number value. Okay. Okay, now see, this is X. En is neutral ligand, so its charge is 0. SO4 is having 2 negative charge. So what will be the oxidation number? X plus 0 into 3. Okay, this whole thing is coming twice, so 2 multiplied by this whole thing plus 3 times SO4 is -2 is equal to 0. Okay, now see why we have multiplied with 2, because whole thing is repeating 2 times. Why we have multiplied by 3? Because this whole thing is 3 times. Okay, so what will be the calculation now? 2x minus 6 is equal to 0. it means X is equal to plus 3. So oxidation state value has come out to be plus 3. Okay. Now let us name them. Since this is the ligand and in this ligand there is presence of prefix di. Okay. So it is coming to 3 times. So we are not going to write tri. We have to write tris. Okay. So first of all, cation is named first. This thing complex is cation. Okay, how we came to know? Because whatever is outside this, that is carrying negative charge, so it will be carrying positive charge. So this is cation. So cation will be named first and then this will be named. Okay. Now for naming this, what we will say, we will not say bi or di, because this will be named only once. Okay. So ligands are named first. So tris, then name of this complex ligand will be written in bracket ethane dash 1 comma 2 dash diamine. Then central metal atom. Central metal atom is in the positively charged complex, so it will be named as it is. So cobalt, oxidation number value is 3, and then sulfate. Okay, so this will be the IUPAC name of this compound. Now let us name this. This is the compound given to us. Okay, now see, in this case, how we will come to know which is positively charged and which is negatively charged? Again, what we are going to do is, we will take the oxidation state of central atom as X. Okay, and that will be taken same for both the coordination compounds, for both the coordination spheres. In AgNH3 whole twice, again we have taken Ag oxidation state as X, and in AgCN whole twice also we have taken it as X. Okay. Now let us calculate the oxidation state first, then only we will come to know about which part is positive and which is negative charge. Okay. So this is 0, this is minus 1, so it will be X plus 0 plus X minus 2 is equal to 0. So it comes out to be 2x minus 2 is equal to 0. So X value comes out to be plus 1. Okay. Now we will put this value here, and then we will calculate which part is positive and which part is negative. Now when I put here as plus 1 in first coordination sphere, then it comes out to be total as plus 1. This whole thing comes out to be plus 1, and after putting plus 1 here, it whole thing comes out to be minus 1, because this Cn also carries minus 1 charge. So here total will be minus 2, and 1 plus 1 means it will be minus 1. So this is negative part and this is positive part. So first of all, we have to name cation. This will be named first, and then we are going to name this. Okay. So this is to be named first, and then this is to be named. Now how the name will be? Okay. Now see, there are two NH3 groups, so we will say diamine. Now this is in the positive part, positively charged coordination sphere, so we will write silver, and its oxidation state is 1. So diamine silver 1. Now for naming this, dicyanido. Now see, this is cyanide ion and it is negatively charged, so it will end as O. So its name is cyanido. Cyanide ion changes to cyanido. So it is dicyanido, and this silver will be written as argentate because it is negatively charged. This whole coordination sphere is negatively charged, so its name will be written as argentate, argentate 1. So this will be the name of complex. Okay. Now let us come to isomerism. Now see, we know what is isomerism. Isomers are those compounds which have similar molecular formula but different structural formulae. Now see, here in the case of coordination compounds, we can divide isomerism in two categories. One is stereoisomerism and the other is structural isomerism. Now in this portion, we are going to discuss in detail about stereoisomerism. Okay, so first of all, let us talk about stereoisomerism. Now see, stereoisomers have the same chemical formula and chemical bonds, but they have different spatial arrangements. So what do we mean by this? that whatever ligands are attached to the central metal atom, they will be placed in the space in different ways. Okay, they will be placed in different manners. So those different spatial arrangements will be termed as stereoisomers. Okay, now first of all, this type of isomerism arises in heteroleptic complexes. Now see where this will occur in case of heteroleptic. Heteroleptic means where different donor atoms are present, where different donor atoms are attached to the central atom. In such particular complexes, stereoisomerism will occur. Okay. Now this type of isomerism is found in such complexes where the coordination number value is 4 as well as 6. So if it is coordination number value is 4, then we will say it is square planar complex. Okay. In case of square planar complexes which are of the type MX2L2, but now see X and L, they stand for ligands. And which ligands? Since we said it is coordination number 4, so they are monodentate ligands or unidentate ligands. So M is the central metal atom, X is the one ligand, L is the other ligand, and both the ligands are unidentate ligands. Okay. Now in very first thing, this is called, very first type of this isomerism is called geometrical isomerism. Okay, there are two types of isomerisms related to stereoisomerism. One is geometrical isomerism and the other is optical isomerism. Now as we did in case of unsaturated hydrocarbons, that there is presence of geometrical isomerism in unsaturated hydrocarbons. Similarly, in case of coordination complexes, there is presence of geometrical isomerism. Now just like there was formation of cis isomer and trans isomer, in this case also there is presence of cis isomerism, cis isomer and trans isomer. What was cis isomer? Cis isomers were those isomers in which similar groups were present on the same side. So here also what we are going to say, that if the ligands are present on the same side, then it is called cis form of the isomer, and if they are present on the opposite sides of the central metal atom, then they will be termed as trans isomer. So these are two examples which we have taken. In the very first example, the compound is PTNH3 2Cl2. Now in this case there are cis and trans forms of isomers, and these are called geometrical isomers. Similarly, if we take example CONH3 4Cl2 and there is positive charge also, then we will say that similar groups, they lie on the same side. Now how we can see in this case? In this case coordination number is 6. Okay, so for 6 what we have to say, we have to see one of the side which is above the square, that should be having the same group or same atom as one of the corner possesses. Okay, that will be termed as cis form. And if the two groups which are similar, they are on the opposite ends of the square. Opposite ends of the square means in square there are 4 groups which are lying at one plane. One group is above the plane and the similar group is below the plane, then we will say it is transform. Okay, so for coordination number 6, similar groups should be one above the plane, one below the plane, then that will form transform. And if the similar groups are on the at one of the corner of square and one above or below of the square, then it will be termed as cis. Okay, now let us take this example. Now don't confuse in this diagram. Here what we have shown, this is the central atom which is making 6 bonds. See, these are 6 bonds. 4 are at the 4 corners, okay, and one is above the plane and one is below the plane. Now what we have shown here is that it is bidentate ligand. There is presence of bidentate ligand. So one ligand will make 2 bonds. Now if bidentate ligands are present on same side, Now see, in this case, what is there? Here bidentate ligands are on the same side, monodentate ligands are on the same side. So we will say this is cis form of this particular molecule. And if similar groups are on the opposite sides, then we will say it is trans form of the geometrical isomer. Okay. Now see, in this case, what we are able to see, we can see that there is presence of two types of ligands. One is the L-L means there are two donor atoms, and such species is existing two times. This is monodentate, and such species is also existing two times. Okay. Now one more category is there. This is called facial or meridional. This also occurs when there is coordination number value 6. Now see, what is there in this case? What is facial form? In case of facial form, the three groups. Now see, very first thing, first of all, facial or face and meridional or mer, face or mer, these forms exist only in such molecules where coordination number value is 6, and there are two types of ligands attached where they exist 3-3. They exist in 3-3 number. Okay. So those similar three groups, if they form three corners of the one face of the octahedron, if there is octahedral structure and one face contains all the three similar groups, then that will come out to be facial form or face form. And if those three similar groups, they form the three corners of the square, then that will be meridional form. Now see, here what is there? This is one face in the octahedron. There are 8 faces in octahedral structure. So if one face contains all the three similar groups, then it is facial form. And if all the three similar groups are on the three corners of the square, then they form meridional form or mer form. Okay. So this was the another form of geometrical isomerism. Here cis and trans words are not used. Here we are using face and mer forms. Okay. Okay. So this was about geometrical isomerism. Now let us come to optical isomerism. Okay, now see, here few terms we are going to use. So let us explain first. See, this is the source of normal light. Okay. Now normal light vibrates in all the directions. This thing shows that normal light vibrates in all the directions. When we pass normal light through a polarizer may be nickel prism or something else. So when we pass normal light through a polarizer, then becomes plane polarized light. Plane polarized light means now it moves in only in one plane. Previously what was there? It was moving in all the directions, and now it is moving in a single plane only. Okay. Now this plane polarized light, if we pass it through optical isomer or optically active substance, then optically active substance has the tendency to rotate the plane polarized light towards either right side or towards left side. Okay. So if the substance rotates the plane polarized light towards right direction, then that form of optically active substance is called D form or dextrorotatory form. And if it rotates the plane of plane polarized light towards left, then it is called levorotatory or L form of the optical isomer. Okay. Now if we take similar groups, if we take the similar amounts of equal amounts of both the forms D form and L form, then that is called racemic mixture, and that will not rotate the plane polarized light in any direction. Okay. Okay. Now one more term we are going to use. This D form and L form, they are also known as enantiomers. What do we say? We say they are enantiomers. Okay. So this is important thing. What is optical isomerism? Optical isomerism means those substances which has the capacity to rotate the plane polarized light towards right or towards left. They are known as optically active substances. Okay, or we can say they are known as optical isomers. Okay, now those two forms, they are called D form and L form. If it is rotating the plane polarized light towards right, then it is D form. If it is rotating the plane polarized light towards left side, then it is L form. And this D and L form, they constitute optical isomers, and this phenomena is called optical isomerism. Okay, now let us understand one more word, that is chiral. What do we mean by chiral, or what are enantiomers? Okay, now see, chiral word is used for those compounds in which there is no plane of symmetry. Okay, and if we take the mirror image of one molecule, then the two, they are non-superimposable mirror images. Just like if we say, if we take our both hands, then if we place right hand over the left hand, then it will not cover it fully. Our thumb will be on one side and other side will be the other thumb. Okay, so such species in which isomers that are non-superimposable mirror images, they are known as chiral. Okay, now see, one more thing is there. If there is a particular atom with which 4 different groups are attached, there also we say that that particular atom is chiral. Okay, so this is one more form of defining the chiral. Now what do we mean by plane of symmetry? Plane of symmetry means that we cannot draw an imaginary line which will bisect the species in 2 equal portions. Okay, just like if we talk about this hand, then we are not able to draw a single line which will divide it into equal portions. So there we can never draw such line. Okay, there is no imaginary line which draws it in 2 equal halves. Okay, so what we will say, that this particular species has no plane of symmetry. Okay, if there is presence of plane of symmetry in a particular substance, then that substance will not be termed as chiral. But if there is absence of plane of symmetry, then the substance will be termed as chiral. Okay, now what about optical isomerism? Let us discuss it again. So whatever we discussed, on the basis of that, how can we define optical isomerism? Okay, now see, optical isomers are mirror images that cannot be superimposed on one another. These are called as enantiomers. Okay, so optical isomers, they are also known as enantiomers. The molecules or ions that cannot be superimposed are called chiral. Okay, so this is another name given for them. The two forms are called dextro and levo. Dextro is denoted by a small d and levo is denoted by a small l. Depending upon the direction, they rotate the plane of polarized light in a polarimeter. Polarimeter is the instrument which is used for detection of light to which side it has moved. Okay, optical isomerism is common in octahedral complexes involving didentate ligand. Didentate means bidentate, having denticity value 2. Okay, now let us see these examples. See, here I have taken one molecule where En is the ligand and it is present 3 times. See, what is the molecule? COEN thrice, and there is 3 positive charge. Okay, so this is bidentate ligand and it is attached, it is present 3 times. So what I will say, this way I can represent it. If I take, this is the mirror image of this. Now if I lift this as it is, dextro form, if I lift it as it is and I keep it over levo form, then it is not going to cover, nothing will get covered. We will be able to see all the 6 forms. Okay, so we will say that these 2 forms are non-superimposable mirror images. Now since this form can rotate the plane polarized light towards right, so it is D form or dextro form, and it can rotate the plane polarized light towards left, so it is levo form. Okay, now if we talk about this, where there are 2 ligands, one is having density value 2 and other is having density value 1. In such cases there are cis and trans forms. Okay, now if we talk about cis form, okay, if we talk about cis form, then that can only show the optical isomerism. Transform will not show. Why transform will not show? Because transform will have plane of symmetry. Okay, so those molecules which possess plane of symmetry, they do not show optical activity, they are not optical isomers. Okay, but it's a cis form that doesn't have plane of symmetry, so it will show the optical isomerism. Okay, now see, this form is dextro form and this form is levo form. If we pick this dextro form and keep it on levo form, then it will not cover anything, and what we will say that it is non-superimposable mirror image. Okay, so in that case this will be termed as optical isomer. Now whatever we have discussed, on the basis of that you have to solve these home assignments. Okay, thank you.